in communication with your Lord who made you tap there. And this is Muhammad's great mission, is to keep your mind in that original state that Allah gave you. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah. That's why you make sajda. You go in all these positions of prayer. Allahu Akbar, you stand like this. Why do you stand like this? Excuse me, I don't mean to disrespect the protocol, Juma'ah. But you stand in your hands like this. I do it where you see your hands. You know what this means? This means that you are a man and a woman of dignity. And in this prayer position, you only recite the Quran. You hear what I'm telling you? You are Allahu Akbar, you in this position, you don't recite the Quran. You go in sajda, you don't recite the Quran. You only recite the Quran in this position of qiyam, which means that Allah stood you up with all of the forces of creation. Allah stood you up. Your mama and daddy didn't stand you up. Oh, I helped my baby to stand up. No, you did not. It was the ruh of Allah that stood you up alone. Am I making that clear to you? Allahu Akbar. So you stand like this. Look. And in this position, you're so dignified till Allah allows you to recite His book. You, in this position, you only recite the Quran. You hear me? Some people don't know this. They don't know the religion that well. You cannot recite anything in this position except for the Quran, the Word of God. Allahu Akbar. Now look what Allah did. Allah took you and made you take your right hand and put your right hand over your left hand, which means that Allah is telling you that I have given you your power in your righteousness to control any weakness that somebody will influence you in your mind. I have given you autonomy and self-control, self-mastery. Allah Akbar. In this position, you don't hurt the person on your right. In this position, you don't hurt the person on your left. In this position, you don't even hurt yourself. Allahu Akbar. And you recite the Quran. You don't pick up a reefer. You don't pick up wine. You don't pick up cocaine because you're too dignified to do that. You can't stoop that low. Then after that, you Allahu Akbar, you go down into this position. And Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. Glory to my Lord, the great. And you know, in this position, do you know why we do this in this position? Because years ago, men used to bow to kings. You couldn't go to a king like this. You had to go to a king like this. So Muhammad the Prophet was guided to capture that you only bow in this position to Allah. And look, you see my hands, when my hands are here? You go and you study Egyptian history, ancient Egyptian history, you'll see the Pharaoh. And when he would sit in his chair, the Pharaoh, and his hands would be on the knees like this. And it wouldn't be knees, it would be human beings. He would be sitting in a chair and his hands would be on human beings. Meaning that he had the power over their spiritual influence, the power over their rational influence. This is what our prayer is telling us. Then we stand back up, and then we go down into sajda, right? And we go down into sajda, and what is sajda telling you? Sajda is telling you go back to your innocence, and if you go back to your innocence, respecting Allah, when you come back up, you don't need the Prozac. When you come back up, you don't need the Valium, because you have gone back to the original innocence that Allah created you in. That's what your prayer is saying. I'm sorry to be putting you to sleep. I see a lot of you going to sleep. You're closing your eyes on me. And it says, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنَ الْإِثْمِ وَالْكَسَلِ. And I seek your refuge from lack of strength and laziness. Allahu Akbar. You may say, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what the biggest problem in America is? America has lost its work ethic. They have no work ethic. Nobody wants to work. They want to get a paycheck, but they don't want to work. And they used to complain and say that this was the problem of the African American. Now they're saying that this problem is prevalent to all Americans. And I'm going to tell you something. So you who are from foreign lands, from India, Pakistan, Middle East, from Africa, you know why America has opened the doors to you? It's because you bring the work ethic to this nation. You have a sense of dignity that comes with work. Allah. Now, I would like to comment again on the wisdom of Muhammad the Prophet. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that I seek refuge from lack of strength and laziness. Do you know I've heard people say all my life, so-and-so is lazy, so-and-so is lazy. But Muhammad the Prophet said, I seek refuge from laziness. You know what he's talking about? Allah creates no lazy human being. Allah. He creates no lazy human being. If you point to me and say, this is a lazy human being, I'll tell you that's wrong. In order for that human being to be born, he had to work in order to get into this world. Are you listening to me? At the 9th month, they say his mother was in labor. What does that mean? That means she's working to produce the child, right? But they won't tell you that the child is also working to get out of that small environment. So Allah has not created any lazy person. Now you listen to me. You listen to me well. But some of you are going to run into this. You don't see you don't see the wisdom of your religion right now. I'm not knocking you. I'm not putting you down. I'm just trying to reach you. You have small children. One day your children are going to be grown. And I'm going to have to tell you this so you understand what I'm talking about. I have children. They're grown. They have married. And the people who they married was not the same way that I raised them. You understand what I'm saying? I raised a son to be clean. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. And he went out and he married a woman. Next thing you know, she's smoking in the house. She's lazy. She's not keeping the house up. She's not washing the dishes. She's not taking care of the children. You understand what I'm telling you? Now I have to suffer this. And I'm telling you the wisdom of Muhammad the Prophet from my personal family. So that you will have the wisdom to protect your child and protect yourself from a problem that you will inherit, inshallah, in the future. So, Muhammad the Prophet, he said, I seek your refuge from lack of strength and laziness. You show me a lazy person, and I'll show you Satan has told us a lie. Show me the laziest person, and I'll show you what Allah created. Inside of his body, his lungs are working. No laziness. His kidneys are working. No laziness. His spleen is working. No laziness. You understand what I'm saying? From the neck down, he's a worker. But what has happened, he has met a word from the cultural environment. And the word is oppressive. And there's a saying in the Hadith where Prophet Abraham said, Zalamtu nafsi. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Zalamtu nafsi. Zalamtu nafsi means I have been unjust to my own self. Zalamtu nafsi means I have been unjust to my own self. This is Prophet Abraham saying it. Now, most of us have a situation far worse than Prophet Abraham. I've been unjust to myself with what? Cigarettes, alcohol, reefer, 15 TVs in my house, a Lamborghini that I can't afford because I'm trying to keep up with the neighbors. All of that is unjust to myself. You see? Oh, yeah, I love it. So I'm going to stop because I see an indication to me, and it's a good indication. But inshallah, I pray one day that we can have a serious conversation along these lines that are adversely affecting the population. What I'm telling you is very serious. Very serious. That you had to go to college for 4 years to get it. Allah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. In the Quran, to save time, in the 2nd chapter, ayat 125, Allah speaks to Abraham and Ishmael. He says, and keep my house pure. The Kaaba. Listen, keep my house pure. And this responsibility was given to Abraham and Ishmael. Now I want to tell you this. The first person to violate that law, where the Kaaba had no images or idols in it, the person's name was Amr ibn Luhay. He was the first person to put an idol in the Kaaba. He started. And after that, the Kaaba ended up with 369 idols. And this went on for thousands of years with these idols in the Kaaba. And Allah said, keep my house pure. Right? As Ibrahim and Ishmael built it. Okay? After them, the Kaaba was not maintained by Muslims. So here comes Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslim. And he came and restored the Kaaba as Ibrahim and Ishmael built it. Now I'm telling you this because they charged Muhammad the Prophet with being an idol destroyer. One who destroyed other people's religious idols. And you need to know this history. Some of you haven't heard this before, I'm telling you now. That he went and he destroyed this tribe's idol and that tribe's idol, etc. But they won't tell the people that those idols were put in there after Abraham and Ishmael made that house pure. So what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was doing was restoring the Kaaba as it was originally. Now, do you know what that's talking about? In English, you spell idol, I-D-O-L, right? But there's another word in English, it's spelled I-D-L-E, idol. And the Kaaba, one of its signs, is the sign of the human mind. When Allah built the Kaaba was free of idols. And when the human being is born in the world, the human being is free of idols in his mind. There's no idols in the human mind when he's born. And just like the Kaaba, after it was made pure, later on it ended up with idols in it. The same thing happens with the human being. He's born from his mother's womb. He's 13, he's 17, he's 20, he's 30, he's 40 years old, and his mind now is filled with wrong influences, with corrupt ideas. And he needs the same thing for his mind that Prophet Muhammad had to do for the Kaaba. His mind has to be clean of the false idols that have been put in it. Yes. Allah Akbar. So this is the work of Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this work is going on now, and it'll go on till the last man is on the face of this earth. So inshallah, I want to end here. I want to finish what I have to say for this Juma'ah. But I want to remind you of our obligation. And inshallah, tomorrow we're going to start the Dawah effort in Fort Lauderdale. And we'll be starting at 10 o'clock in the morning at Masjid Al-Imam. I get it mixed up with the other Masjid. On the Masjid on Franklin in Fort Lauderdale. Now, so as I conclude, I want to say this to you. Allah's will, Allah's intent for whatever he creates. And I see you sleeping on it. But that's okay, you're here. We see Allah's attributes reflected in his creation because he projected himself as will and as intent into everything that he made. What am I talking about? The human being, Henry Ford, he had an intent, he had a will, he made the car. The car had lights that come on, the car had a horn, the car had a motor. It worked because man's intent and will went in that car. So I'm telling you, Allah's intent and will has gone into everything that he has created. Allah. And there's nothing greater than the human mind that Allah has made. Nothing greater than your mind. And there is no matter evolved higher than your human intelligence. And Allah has obligated the human being more than he obligated any other creature. That's human. So, inshallah, I'm going to finish. And may Allah bless you to grow and respect the Quran and to love Allah more than you love your own life. And I had people ask me that, say, how can I love Allah more than I love my own life? Because there was a time when you wasn't alive. And Allah even caused you to have life. You begin from death and you come into life. And you go back to death. And Allah will resurrect you back into life. The power of Allah. So as I conclude, closing up my laptop, Allah worked eons, trillions of years to take this atom and to take this molecule and to bring them together to form your body. You hear what I'm telling you? Eons to bring about your identity, your individuality. This is Allah's work. So that you would be the one to express his will from your intellect. The dog, he barks, he expresses Allah's will. The cow, he moves, he's expressing Allah's will. The bird, he chirps, he expresses Allah's will. You, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You have the highest expression of Allah's will. Alhamdulillah. So I thank Allah for you to give up your time to come to Salat al-Juma'ah. And may Allah reward you twice, spiritually and rationally. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Where's the muezzin?
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن رسول الله حي الصلاة حي الصلاة تكون في صلاة تكون في صلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر
لا إله إلا الله. Allah Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal-fajr walayalin ashr wash-shaf'i wal-watr wal-layli idha yasr hal fi dhalika qasmun bihi hajr alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi'ad إرم ذات الإمام التي لم يخلق مثلها أسرها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون بالأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة فيها كتب قيمة وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين بنار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. جزاهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. تقبل الله. Allah said, "You're not proud."
We do have to announce it. As the announcer was saying about the dialogue activity tomorrow, we have a strip of paper like this with for both the Masjid and the location that we plan to work on. So you can take this with you. Also, the time and place is on this little strip of paper copy off the table.